So hi everyone, right, got a really interesting video here for you as we just look at really improving your all-round ball striking, getting better contact. We're going to be looking at the hands and the wrists, a couple of great drills for you later on in the video, and some slow motion clips as well. We're going to be looking here at some evidence-based material. Have a look at the end product. What are we trying to do? Low point control, get a great entry, just really improve your ball striking. And we're going to be looking at some fantastic plays. So before we move on further into the video, let's have a look at now what we're trying to achieve, the end product, a few slow motion clips of the perfect entry into the golf ball.
So guys, it really is interesting when we look at the averages of movement, the best ball strikers in the world, and the closer we're getting to these positions, the better that we're hitting it. Club face control, wrist alignments, compression, lag. It really is an amazing part of the golf swing. And for everybody in there understanding this and working on this, you would improve your ball striking. McIlroy here, let's pop up a clock here up over these club faces, and we see that both club faces pointed up towards 1 o'clock. All right, now, as we move further into the swing and we pick up angles and we rotate and we bring the club down, you can see that both the players here bringing the club down behind the hands. So have a look at this. All right. And we'll see that the club head is now not as far over towards 1 o'clock as it was. Now this, when you're using your TrackMans and your flight scopes, if you get into this position here, you're going to hit some really good numbers. And this is looking at the golf swing, one of the checkpoints. Right? If you're looking to hit a dead straight shot, the closer you get to this position, the better you're going to hit it. Now, guys, really, when you're filming your swings with your mobile phones, you can see this. Right? You set your phone up on slow motion. This is a mobile phone. I'm Tour Professional here. Dodge Kemmer from California. Oh, look at that club face. Now, how many players are in these positions? There's Matt Kuchar, exactly the same. Snedeker. I love this way the guy, this swing through the golf ball here with the shoulder plane. Look at these hips up, 17 degrees. Look at that right foot, 54, 55 shoulder plane. Look at that knee moving. If you've seen some of my other videos, wonderful movement. We got Ricky Fowler here on this side here, and we'll see that up into this side here, this lead wrist. It was moved into flexion. We got it at minus 12 degrees. We're just seeing that club face there once again, people, into the right position. Now what we're seeing with so many of the club golfers out there, unfortunately bringing the club down into really open positions here, this is causing you to flip it. So that curve there, even when it's just a little bit, we can see this here, that's enough there, guys, to cause huge issues, fat shots, thin shots, you name it, you've got lots of different problems. Have a look at Fleetwood coming in here. Look at the same club face position, guys. Let's have a look now as we look at these numbers, these positions. Let's have a look at how we get ourselves into this position. And really, for everyone out there, you should be looking at filming your swings. Who isn't filming their swings with their mobile phones? It's essential getting in there and understanding what you're doing. That's what we're showing in world-class golf instruction, guys. Let's get back into the video. We'll talk about some fields. We'll talk about how to get our wrist alignments working effectively and get on the path to hitting the ball much better.
So guys, right, the evidence-based material. Let's have a look now at how we can go about feeling some of these positions, practicing some of these positions, improving your ball striking, and practicing with a purpose and a plan. It's very important to understand exactly what's going on with the hands, the wrists, and talking about them to get your swing moving really efficiently. Now we'll talk about the takeaway position as we then moving down in the downswing and then a couple of drills. When you're looking at getting your takeaway in a great spot here, the club's going to be around level with the hands and the club's going to be pointed up towards 1 o'clock. Now when we do that, we get the right wrist to break back on itself, pointing down. So the palm is pointing down to the ground. It's almost like how a fish's tail moves when it swims. Increasing this angle, this actually, believe it or not, helps you pivot. When you start to get your right wrist to move back effectively, it gets good structure. If we just open things up just a touch here, fan it, things start to lift up and we start to lose this structure that we're after. So it's a very important part to notice that when we're taking the club away, if we had a laser light out of that golf club, it would remain pointing at the ball and the right wrist picks up in angle.
World Class Golf Instruction has over 700 detailed videos for every golfer.
practice programs and evidence-based material is applied in helping you to become your own coach and play your best golf. Join us in the chat room and join the community of world-class golf instruction. Now when we're looking at the wrist movements of flexion and extension, when we're flexing something here, we're bowing it in this direction, and when we're cupping it through the ball, we've got cupped or an extension, and we've got bowed or inflection, these two things. And obviously we've got rotation as well, and a couple of other things that we'll move on into in some other videos. Now looking at a couple of ways to bring this golf club down, it's very important that if you're not using your TrackMans and your flight scopes, if you're using just video, which is what we're showing in world-class golf instruction, to understand that when you bring yourself down to these positions like this, with the club slightly behind the hands, and just pointing this side of 12, you're going to hit some great numbers anyway. All right, now this lead wrist, people, is later on in the downswing. This is the area that we need to notice. We need to notice angles here in the back of the wrist, how we can actually lower a plane rather than something steepening. We see these cupped wrists coming down, and really people trying to create lag and creating it the wrong way with a cupped position here. Let's go through some of the feels and a couple of drills here and how we can improve this entry into the golf ball. So guys, using the tennis racket here just to illustrate some of the feels here. In this position here, I've got the right hand pointed away from me, and actually when you're looking at exactly where this right hand's pointing, let me just show you this. That's like a 90-degree angle, right? There's your 90, there's your 0. Okay, 80, 70, 45. So that's 90 degrees. Is that the camera? It's pointing at 90 degrees. Now 45, you can do this with a couple of tool sticks, so just imagine it, is over there. Now remember I said that because this is really where we want to get the right hand pointing, setting it up. We're getting that club up to 1 o'clock, right hand breaking back on itself. And when we get back to here, that right hand, we're going to be looking at pointing it to 45. As I said, keeps really good structure. And one of the things to notice, keep the right hand pointed away from you. If you're doing lots of exercise, keep the right hand pointed down here. We see that angle, it's a really big angle in the back of this wrist. This is a great way when you're setting this right hand up, bringing this drill down. See that lead wrist slightly curved. If you've got that angle in the wrist, you can see that that club head's coming in behind the hands. Once we start to open this up, right, and the right palm points at me, I lose all angles, and then we're in all sorts of trouble. Flipping it or coming from the outside, trying to square the club up. But by getting these angles correct, you're going to set up the club head in a great position. And when we get to the top, we're really then trying to, as we move and shift laterally, closing up the gap here, but that right hand still pointing down and away from me, and late into the swing, we're going to try and get this shape. Now here's a great drill. All right, this is an absolute belter to create the sensation of what your hands and wrists are doing coming down late into the downswing. Now what we do is we take the setup, you cock the hands and the wrist so they end up in around about the same position, and you've got this club head pointed up towards 1 o'clock. All right, now you split the hands a little bit, swing it up, and as you come down into the downswing, you're just turning this late in the downswing, turning this lead hand down, but the club remains behind the hands. So when your wrist bows down in that position, the angle in the right wrist picks up, the club gets behind us a little bit, and we're trying to get that club to get behind the hands. By bowing this wrist down, you'll get some great sensations. From this side, this is how it looks. All right, you get your wrist break, split the hands, you point at 1 o'clock, and then you're just working, bowing that wrist down. And this is how you can get some shaft length without the face being open. All right, this is why people are flipping it and all sorts of things, and getting into this position here after impact. There's plenty of the other videos you can have a look at if this is the first time you're on the channel looking at flipping. There's some really interesting videos on the way through, and we've got 1,000 videos on worldclassgolf.com. So guys, have a look. By getting this movement coming down, you can then slide your hands in, get that sensation, bring it into impact, and looking at lots of little practice swings and drills, creating sensations, and that's really going to set you up to understand where this lead wrist is, where that club head is, and getting control over your club head, your hands and wrists. One of the most important things in the entire golf swing, guys. Get stuck into it. Thanks for watching, and we'll check you next time.